as a history teacher, how do you connect with a kid and get them excited about history? Why do you think it's important for people to learn history and get excited about it?
So that's a great question. So I teach 10th graders now, and it's early U.S. history. So we cover Native Americans through the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably shouldn't say this, but I do collect arrowheads. My wife's family has a place up on Tennessee River, and after it floods, it usually washes stuff down off the banks. And so there's a particular beach up there, and we'll pull at the boat. The kids are playing, but another boat will come by, and it just kind of washes a little wave up there. So I'll just get up and walk down the beach. I usually find stuff. Well, I bring it back to the classroom and I lay it all out one day and have kids say, well, what do you think this is? And they love that kind of stuff. They love being able to get their hands on things like that. And then the other thing that I do, going back to connection, so that the Homewood History Hunt was all about connecting. Like these kids can go stand on the old Edgewood Lake Dam and see that. They can go see the streetcar tracks on Broadway. But what I do now, I do this family tree project in the springtime. And so there's a grant you can get with Ancestry where you can get it free for your schools. And so all our kids are one-to-one devices. And so I teach them, I take 2 weeks and I teach them how to research their family trees. And so, a lot of people say, oh, I've got an aunt that's already done this. No. I don't want your aunt's project. I want your project. So I teach them how to do it for 2 weeks. Then we learn the Civil War through the eyes of their ancestors. So like last year in one class, I had 7 kids in that class who all had an ancestor at Chickamauga. Mm-hmm. 3 of them were from the North, 4 of them were from the South. And so I wasn't even going to talk about that battle. But then when I find that out, I'm like,
now
I've got to spend all day on this. And so we did. And I mean, I put up a big map on the screen. I said, now y'all need to go find where your ancestors, I taught them how to put their ancestor on a map. And, this year, this happens every single year. I'm grading projects, and there's a picture of a Civil War soldier, a picture of a Civil War soldier, 2 different projects. Mm. That's the same guy. And so I call one of them up to my desk. I said, are you and this guy, are y'all cousins? I said, I don't think so. I said, well, I think you are. And so I said, don't say anything, but text that other guy, tell him to come down here. So he walks down there, and I put the 2 posters out, and I say, look at this. And he starts looking at it. He goes, that's my poster. I said, well, look at the other one. And he's looking, and he looks at his buddy. He's like, well, we're related? He said, we're best friends, and now we're cousins. And so they legitimately, families are best friends, and they had no idea. So now when I say, okay, let's talk about the battle this guy was in. Well, those guys are engaged. I mean, when I can say, hey, here's where your ancestor was on the second day of Gettysburg, running through Devil's Den, attacking Dan Sickles, and they can see that on a map, and they can hold a document in their hand that says, well, yep, according to his file, that's where he was. I mean, they're into that. They love it. Mm-hmm. And so I hate that I kind of have to, it's going to make it sound bad, but I get through the rest of American history, but then when I get to the Civil War, I kind of camp out there for a while because it's the first time that they can actually see, oh, this person in my family was actually here, and I've made a real connection with this. And that's what's so hard with teaching history today is the number one question is, why does this stuff matter? And even in the current political climate, you want to start having some of these conversations about things. Well, here's what happened here with inflation and pet banks in the 1830s. Mm-hmm. We're seeing inflation here. So what are the similarities here? And it's so hard to dance around politics with that stuff because all it takes is one person saying, I don't think I like what my teacher said today about that certain political view, even though I'm just trying to get them to have these conversations. Luckily, I work at a place where I've never really had that issue, and most kids are understanding of like, he's just trying to get us to think.
Yeah.
But it's all about making connections. And going back to the history hunt, kids made connections to it. They loved it. It was something fun. I don't know that they necessarily got the depth of the connection of the development of civilizations like I was thinking about. But to me, if they're learning about any history and they're having fun and they're in 8th grade, that's probably a good thing.
That approach of making those connections of like, hey, this is how history has impacted you personally. That genealogy project allows you, it gives you a little bit of ammunition to say, hey, these events that I know and I have studied and everything like that, I can place your family at that event. And that right there is immediately going to connect a lot stronger to, oh yeah, that's a thing that happened, whatever. It's like, no, that's a thing that affected me.
Right.
Like that's That's powerful.
It's a lot of fun. And at the end of the year, I always ask kids, well, what was your favorite thing this year? 100% family tree project. Why can't we just do that all year? Like, well, we have to learn about the American Revolution and, reform
Some other
movement, other
ideas.
things we need to learn about.
Yeah, yeah.